smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host, guests, and callers who are responsible for their content and do not reflect the opinions of In Touch Radio or its staff.
Good morning, good morning. It is indeed a good morning. Let me remind you, if you can hear the sound of my voice, please declare this day a good day. Good morning to you. I'm glad that you're here with me on Intex News Radio, reality radio where everybody could be a star. My name is Clinton Paris. I'm your host on this journey, and you're my therapist for this session as we go through the process of trying to make sense out of all the crazy things that happen during the week. If you were to take a time capsule and go back 30 years and open up the time capsule and were to try and say here are the things that were happening in America at the time that the capsule was made, it'd be hard to believe the magnitude and the number of things that we have happening right now in our world that's impacting all that we do. And on this show, what we try to do is narrow it down a little bit and make it just take a look at it from a political point of view. But it's tough because almost everything is politics. The price of the car that you buy is politics. The tires your car rides on, what kind of tires? It's politics. What kind of chemicals they put in your water to make it safe, or some people say unsafe? It's political. The food that you eat, the fertilizers, the how you treat your pet, everything comes down to politics because it is through the political process we establish the rules, the regulations, the laws of society. So when we talk about politics on this show, we are really talking about everything. And some people say, "Oh no, well you don't get to talk about my religion." Well, yeah, the politics influences religion. If you don't believe me, well, if you hadn't believed that, just wander back and just think about what just happened in Israel. Just think about it, and just think about the religious connotations, or think back to 9/11. Of course, there are religious overtones in that. So there's very few things in our society that politics doesn't touch. And so we on this show try to dive into it and try to pull out some of that stuff and try to make some sense out of it, and which is almost like, impossible. I'll take a shot. It's like understanding the woman in your life. It's almost impossible. Because soon as you think, as soon as you think you got it, there is another curveball coming. And brothers, I'm going to encourage my brothers to stay the course, stay in there. Just know that every day you are up to the challenge and stay in there because we need our family units intact. And that means brothers, on point. But politics is such a fluid moving thing, and it grows and builds on itself. And I know some people say, well, I don't want to pay attention to that. Okay, don't pay attention to it. But I don't want to hear your mouth when gas prices start to change. Or I don't want to get involved in politics. Don't get involved in it. Don't. Don't. But don't complain about your taxes. Or I don't want to get involved in politics. Oh, no, don't get involved in politics. But don't complain when your car hit a pothole because road hadn't been fixed. Or here's when it gets you. You leave your neighborhood. You go into some other neighborhood, and it looks great. Nice. Clean. Nice houses. Driveways, pressure wash. Beautiful landscaping, trees. Roofs fixed. Nobody's grilling in the front yard. There isn't a auto parts supply depot repair and detail shop on somebody's lawn. Mailboxes are actually standing up and actually get used for mail. And you complain, well, why isn't my neighborhood that way? Oh, no. You don't want to be in politics. All things come back to politics. And so it's very incumbent upon us that we be informed. Now, you think when I say politics, go and vote. Voting is like, it's like learning to wipe your butt when you go to the toilet. It's the floor. It's not washing your hands. It's not spraying air freshener. It's not the other stuff you need to do when you go, for those of you understand the visual I'm creating. Voting is the floor of your duty as a citizen. Like I said, if you go to the bathroom, it's expected that you're going to, clean yourself up. That's the floor. That's not the ceiling. And so we have to think more about what we can do to be involved in the politics of the day around us so that we can contribute back to our society at every level, the excellence and the exceptionalism that we all embody. So I encourage you not to just be focused on, yourself and just those things. Learn a little bit more. And I know sometimes, like this thing broke out with Israel. And everybody was going into their bag about, there they go again with Israel, and it's the fight between the Palestinians, or is it a fight between the Israelis, or is it a fight between the Jews and the Muslims, or is it really a fight between the Arabs and the Christians? Who's really fighting? Is it Hamas versus Israel, or is it Hezbollah fighting against Israel, or is it Iran helping Hezbollah, who's helping Hamas, or is it the United States that's doing too much to give too many guns and weapons to Israel, and back and forth and so on and so forth? It's just so many parts to it. You can easily say, that's too, I don't have time for that. But let me say this, though. Not very long ago, America got involved, and I say now, two really ill-fated war military actions. The first one was Vietnam. The first one was Vietnam, and the fear of communism. Just the fear of communism and the phony Gulf of Tonkin resolution. I'm not going to do a full history lesson. I will encourage you to go research it yourself, how they faked an incident in the Gulf of Tonkin to open the door so that President Johnson could escalate things in Vietnam. And as a result, a generation of American youth were hurt and injured and so on and so forth in that war. And then we have Iraq, Iraq number 2. Not Iraq 1. Iraq 1 was a good war. Colin Powell did a good job with Iraq 1. I mean, really in Iraq 1, the idea was, hey, listen, you had Kuwaiti in the oil situation, and we went and handled our business and, got on up out of there. But now we're back to Gulf War II. I thought was just horrible because it was based on faulty, erroneous information that somehow Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. We've never gone back to that. So it can happen easily where you've got American soldiers put at risk. I think there's one special forces group, about 2,000 folks or so, that's been put in place if need be to take action and maybe help with something. I don't know. I think the USS Gerald Ford, America's most advanced aircraft carrier, has been deployed to the region as well. But that's neither here nor there. We have other issues happening. For example, we have a dysfunctional Congress. We have actually a non-functioning Congress in that you don't have a Speaker of the House. And just give you an idea of what that means, it means, a couple things. The first thing is, if something happened to the president, if something happened to the vice president, there is no one to take over the country. Well, I think back in when Ronald Reagan was shot, General Alexander Haig, the Secretary of State, said he would take over. So we got some people that might claim it out there, But Haig said he'd take over, and of course Bush, who was the vice president, said, "I think you're out of line. I got this." But we got a call coming in real quick. Let's see if we can take this caller real quick and go from there. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning, Counselor. This is Professor Seabrook. How are you?
I can barely hear. Give me a second as we get our volume up. You said that's I think it sounds like it's the professor. Is that correct?
Yep. This is me.
All right, do me a favor, Professor. We're having a technical issue. Can you hang up and call right back? Do that.
Sure.
Do that for me. I promise I will give you a chance to say whatever it is I'm going to disagree with when you call back. Do me a favor. That's the professor you all are calling in to kind of help us understand what is happening with the Republicans up in Washington. I mean, this thing is easy, isn't it? You pick a leader. We've done that. We've done it. We do it in high schools. You do it in clubs. Hey, listen, the gangs on the streets of L.A., they do it. They have gang leaders. Why can't the Republicans pick a leader? Kind of got me back. Usually when people can't do something as basic as pick a leader, normally that tells me they don't want to they don't want a leader. You know, they don't want a leader. So we're waiting for the professor to give. There we go. We've got him. That's not him. Okay, so we're testing the volume. But we'll get the professor back on the air real quickly. He's off educating the youths of America, teaching class, and making sure that tomorrow's leaders are the best and the brightest that we have. But we have this issue with Congress being paralyzed because a week ago, Representative Gates moved to oust Speaker Kevin McCarthy. He was ousted. They have not been able to come to grips with who would replace him at this point in time. So they're working on that, but they can't come. They had decided it was going to be Steve Scalise, but Scalise, he didn't get enough votes, and then it came out that there's a block of Republicans requiring that whoever the new speaker is, he must attest to that the 2020 election was invalid and that Donald Trump did not lose the election. I think those are two of the requirements they're putting on the table that seem to me going to be hard to meet. So it means basically whoever takes the position of president is going to be an election denier. Now that's one of the So anyway, it seemed like to me though they're in a quandary because it's a classic example of when somebody crazy show up, you got to treat them like they're crazy. You got to let everybody else know we know they're crazy. You know, it's like that crazy uncle that comes to the family reunion. Everybody knows he's crazy. We're going to get him a plate. We're going to put him over here where everybody keep an eye on him, right? And if he start trying to get up and move around, somebody's got to put him back in his spot. But think about it, the Democrats had that issue with the squad. The squad came in looking like they were going to, run roughshod over a bunch of people in the Congress, in the House of Representatives, and Nancy Pelosi and the leadership sat him down. They got him lined. You rarely hear anything destructive coming out of AOC, Ilhan Omar, and I can't remember the other two people that were in that group that they named the squad or whatever they were. But they're not disruptive people. They're in. Okay, we got this caller back in. Good morning, Professor. Are you there? Just a little bit, Professor. We'll work that out on our end. Thank you for calling. But listen, help me out. What is going on? What is going on with your former Republican brethren and their ability to pick a speaker?
John, I'm not sure if the question
where do they go from now, though? I mean, the reality of it is they're the majority party. They've got to pick a speaker. Where do they go?
Expedient, but when it was safe.
Okay.
But I think they're gonna rally around them because they have them. They can afford to lose 4 or 5 votes and still have the majority and put them in. Him being Jim Jordan.
Right. Yeah. But what about you've got a number of Republicans though that are in Democratic districts or Biden districts. How do you keep them on board? Because basically they're going to get primaried.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. We're not really worried about that. Only Democrats are trying to scare somebody with the Republican being in the Democrat district where Joe Biden's failing poll numbers. I think we can weather that storm. They would do well. They being any Republican would do well if they do what the bloc wants and not the establishment. No Republican is going to fare well if they can't get Donald Trump's voters. So you can chop it up any way you want, Biden district, MAGA supporter. At the end of the day, it only moves with Trump's voters. Nobody can move without. He is like a gangster. Nobody moves without his voters.
Well,
we understand that, right? I mean, isn't that true?
From a primary, stay for a minute, in a primary setting, but if you're in a district, you're Republican, the district voted Democrat for president, you need to be sensitive to the idea that there are people here looking at Republican behavior differently than the MAGA Republican.
Well, that may be true, but there's enough going in the world right now that can overshadow them just bickering, because their bickering is not playing into what's going on in Israel and the invasion, Hamas, and then what's going over here. Unless you're talking about districts, what about what's going on in North Carolina, Hunter College, all the pro-Palestinian supporters? That has nothing to do with whether or not the Republicans can come together on the speaker. So I don't see those as big problems, because in your circle, and I can use this because I was once party to this, when they say suppress the evidence, they have to get out of the primary. Forget the rest. Hey, you need to take care of this right now. So whatever comes out of this might not even matter.
Well, very, 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 very well, Mike. So one of the other things that we have going is the issue with Israel. Professor, we need to take a break. Can you hold on and just answer one or two questions on the other side for me about this Palestinian-Israeli issue?
Sure.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back to you on the other side. This is In-Text News Radio, Reality Radio. Everybody can be a star. We'll be right back.
Sometimes Medicaid. I also help people with life insurance, long-term care insurance, and annuities. Please do not try to navigate Medicare without me. It's complicated. 813-476-4837.
Touch Radio, the most loved station across the nation. In Touch Radio. Tell a friend. In Touch Radio.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen or sundown. 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky. Is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims, getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
When it comes to reality radio, everyone is a star.
I know that's right.
On your smooth soul and R&B station. On the World Wide Web.
Access granted.
In Touch Radio.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, reality radio. Everybody can be a star. You know, one of the highlights of my show is I sit on this side and I face the microphone, and my only job is to put words together. But on the other side, I got my man DJ Avalanche and, of course, DJ Bezel juggling all kind of balls, trying to keep this technology going, man. I want to hand them some duct tape, a pair of grip pliers, and a clothes hanger to make them just make sure they can get the thing done over there. But they're doing a great job, man. Want to thank you guys. I also got the professor on the phone. Professor, what's your prediction for who's going to be speaker? And give me an over-under on whether it's going to be more or less than 5 votes. Hello, do we have the professor there? Professor, you there? All right, well, we'll work to get the professor back on real quick, because one of the things okay, good. All right, I'm sorry, good. All right, so here we go. Yeah. So who's going to be the speaker, and how many votes is it going to take?
I'm trying to think. Don't we have 221 or 218? 218. Well, let me answer your first question. It's going to be Jim Jordan, and it's going to be under. I think he's. Wait a minute. I don't even know how to play the over-under. I'm kind of a nerd in that way. But if you're saying that he's not, I will say that he's not going to have the full complement of Republican vote. So I think he's just going to get over. So I don't know where that falls.
I got a feeling, watch me, 1 vote, and it's going to be unanimous. That is the only vote the Republicans can have right now. If they do anything else, they are almost handing the country over to Democrats. And I'm not saying that's whether that's good or bad for the Democrats, good or bad for Republicans. I'm just saying from a functionality of conveying strength and a collectiveness and ability to govern, the only vote they can have is a unanimous vote. That's the only vote they can have.
Well, I don't think.
Otherwise, they look like Keystone Cops.
Well, I don't know about that, but I still think there's enough going on in the world right now that's grabbing the news that whether or not he gets over unanimous vote, just gets over the line, no matter how he gets the speakership, as long as we now have a speaker in place. And I think the Republicans know that. Why they do this, I'm sure they have some legitimate reasons. I don't know what those reasons would be. But I think there's enough going on, especially over in Israel, that I don't think people other than Democrats who wanted to somehow take some headline space that Republicans still have not nominated a speaker. Well, they will when when their back's against the wall. They're just playing because they all know that they get this little bit of airtime, and they want to show that they're not pushovers and that they stood up for something. What that something is, I don't know. But when you start seeing the things that I have to wonder if it's true or not, those things being images from Israel, Gaza, I don't think anyone's really wondering what Jim Jordan, how many votes he got.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Tell you your thoughts on the situation over with Israel. There's some general questions out there. Why must America unequivocally support Israel in whatever Israel does? Why is that?
Well, there's the historics behind it. They're one of our key critical allies.
But what do we get though as an ally? What do they give America though? What do we as an ally?
Give us, now from being ex-military, they give us just as much military, not just intel, because that's more of a talking point, but they give us military strategy in warfare. And I didn't know this until I didn't know some of this, what I'm about to say, until this kicked off. People are saying kind of the same thing. Why are we giving them $40 billion or whatever. But I think it's over a 10-year period. But it's what Israel does in other areas. We don't have to put troops on the ground over there. Israel is definitely able to defend themselves. They are a technology hub. So they're, again, a strategic partner, and they help us out militarily. Not necessarily, but often not with their troops. But they're a key partner. And forget the other history part of it. From a faith point of view, when you factor that in, then yeah. Now this anti-Semitic why Israel thing is why it makes me wonder why so many people against Israel. Why not?
Well, I mean, of course, you have the very controversial creation of the current, country of Israel that I think is real problematic for a lot of the world that they struggle with. Is that it didn't come out of some organic functionality of the people on the ground. It was a basic creation of the United Nations. I mean, United Nations. Yeah, okay, they're you all can create a country, and so they declared themselves a country in what they are right now. And now they're
always the people.
Yeah, but they weren't
always the people.
Yeah, but those people were all over the world. They weren't the physical.
This is true.
Yeah, the physicality of it was but the country came out of, like I said, it was a United Nations, kind of functionality. It wasn't organic to the people. Right. Living there, coming to some agreement, one group actually dominating another group. It was an actual outside party kind of coming in and not in creating what you have now. And that's why I think there's a lot of animosity about it and its validity. But I understand but that lends it back to us for America, though. I mean, we talk about supporting Israel like above and beyond what we would talk about almost supporting anyone else. And I don't know enough. I'm not in the military. I'm trying to look at the region, and as we're moving forward, our future interests in the world don't seem to be in the Middle East. And there may have been at one point in time, but as we look towards the future, there's nothing right now happening we have much bigger, more serious issues happening in Africa and in South America than we have in the Middle East in the future. Those are going to be the next 80, 90, 100 year areas that are of big issue. What there's
a commonality. Isn't there a huge Arab population, Muslim population in Africa?
Oh, actually, most of absolutely right. Huge. So, but that's not it. That has nothing to do with Israel, though. But that
has nothing to do with Israel. But when you look at the factions at play, they're no different. The only thing that's not a part of that equation is there are no Jews, and that conflict that you're talking about, the issues that you're talking about there, Israel's not a part of that. But the Arabs are.
Oh, absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah.
Arabs.
So go as this thing plays itself out. It seems like to me, it seems like Israel may be falling into a trap. With it's kind of like the knee-jerk, the absolute reaction that you would expect Israel to have in response to what happened is what they're doing, right? And so my question becomes, well, who does that benefit? Who benefits from Israel, responding with overwhelming force and destruction? Yeah.
Well, and I'll answer, and this is not posed to you, Counselor, but I'll answer that in the way I'm utterly confused, because when this started again, I had to think about the Yom Kippur.
Yeah, that's it. Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur. Okay, and that was 50 plus years ago. And
73.
Looking into some things, it was 1967, and then even before
6 Days War,
Israel came out victorious.
Yes.
Right. So here's if we bring it back to what happened on Sunday or Monday, whenever it was, if it's true that Hamas launched those rockets unprovoked, they won't retaliate. If it's true that they did exactly what those images are showing us, then unequivocally, yes, Israel should wipe them out and do away with them. And who does better? Israel, and the world does better. If they can demolish Hamas as a fighting entity, then it sends a message. But we're not over there just, and here's the thing and I've had this, not so much of an argument, but, with another Navy buddy, he's thinking that the U.S. is spread too thin and we can't fight this war. Absolutely, I don't believe that at all. What we need to do is have a war. War is not pretty, but if you got journalists over taking live footage of, dismembering their bodies, then people don't have the appetite. But we can help put this to sleep. Let them take care of Hamas. If Hezbollah gets in it like they did, from my understanding, they've already launched some skirmish up to the north. If they get in it, we take care of them, and then we're done. Come back home, throw a party.
Sounds like somebody who served with really hook, line, and sinker with the United States military. And the war is so bad. It's really rarely is it clean in war, Professor. Listen, hey, I'm being told I gotta take this last break. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it as always. Good luck with educating the rest of the youths of America today. You have a good day, Professor.
All right,
we're gonna take a quick break, y'all. Come back on the other side. I'm gonna talk a little bit of history. All right. Hey, In Touch News Radio, Reality Radio. Everybody can be a star. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Playing your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers on the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
You've been injured. You deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is Attorney Clinton Paris from the Law Office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, Attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, Reality Radio, where everybody could be a star. I want to thank the professor for calling in, Professor Tony Seabrook, for calling in to kind of give some insight on his perspective on some stuff. A couple of things I want to hit. I got a message from somebody that said, "Hey, you're wearing all that USF stuff." So we are a national show, and we do promote discussion about national politics. But today is homecoming for the University of South Florida. We are playing Florida Atlantic University. Well, we're going to beat Florida Atlantic University in our homecoming game out at Raymond James Stadium. So I am decked out in my USF gear, showing support for my school. I've attended a couple of homecoming events this week. One of the highlights that I attended this week was the National Panhellenics Greek Extravaganza Step Show competition out at the Marshall Center. It was great. I thought the Kappas did an exceptionally well job, as well as the other organizations And I want to congratulate the ladies of the Kappa Iota chapter of Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated at the University of South Florida. They won the step show. But it was a great time. And so wherever you are, it is homecoming season, high school, college, whatsoever. Support these institutions. They do not operate in a vacuum. They operate from the support that we give them through taxes, contributions, and, of course, coming out to the many events. So let's go Bulls, and let's show them what we're working with here. Also want to give a recognition also to the Bucklawn family. Unfortunately, we lost Mr. Ira Bucklawn Sr., local guy. Most people know him as Buddy Coleman, but Mr. Bucklawn passed away last week and is being laid to rest today. So just want to give a quick shout out to his family and just lift them up, y'all. And also to Arthur Parrish, my nephew out in New Orleans, lost his uncle. So anyway, a lot of stuff to be, like I said, concerned for others about, and also to focus in. And one of the things I tell people is nothing like knowing some history. You got to know some history. I hinted to this when I was just talking to the professor. So why is this turmoil with Israel? We have this misconception that this conflict has been a long-time conflict. It's not that long a conflict, really. In the scope of the world, it's not that long. For centuries, the Ottomans controlled all of that region, and there were really very little conflicts. Even the Sunni Muslims and the Shia Muslims got along. The Christians got along. The Palestinians got along with Jordanians, so on and so forth. But as European Jews, and I'm going to go down this road with y'all, as the European Jews repeatedly and systematically were being oppressed in Europe, they were being encouraged to go find a place to be, except here. We just think about the persecution of Jews in Germany as related to, what happened with the Jewish people. But there are multiple instances of the European Jews being persecuted, and they're being pushed to go and be some place. Go be some place. Part of the UN mandate had placed Britain in control of the Palestinian area. That's where the majority were coming. And they were being encouraged to go there. Now, Britain also controlled another area. It was India. And India had just recently gotten its independence in 1946, I think it was, 47. And in a 30-day period, they decided how we're going to get all these Hindus and Muslims to get along. They just drew a line, said, Muslims, you need to go east, and you'll be Pakistan. Hindus, you head west, and you'll be India. And then we'll draw a line in the middle. You all go on this side. About 2 million people died in that whole situation. It was nasty. It was ugly. So when we come around to Palestine needing a place for Jewish people, Britain was they were a little sketchy. They weren't confident or comfortable in just drawing a line and saying Palestinians on one side, Jews on the other side. And their mandate was running out. In comes the United Nations. And it says, hey, we're going to create a state, a country called Israel on this geographic land. Unilaterally. The Arabs weren't consulted. The Palestinians weren't even consulted. And they did it. And when they finished, a bunch of people were pissed. And they are still pissed. I use it as this kind of analogy. Listen to me. You'll come home from work one day, been out working hard, and there's some strange people in your house. Let's make them Venezuelans. There's 3 of them sitting there. And you go, hey, what are y'all doing in my house? And they say, listen, where we were being persecuted. So we've come here now. And we're going to live here. You say, well, yeah, you can live here, but you can't live here. This is my house. They go, no, it's okay. It's okay. You can live in the shed out back. You just go, we'll be in this part. You be in the shed out back. And whenever you need some water, we'll turn the water on. You get some water run out there. And if you want to come inside and get some food, knock on the door. We'll let you come in and get some food up here. But that's how this is going to go. That's how the Palestinians feel. So it's hard for the Palestinians to let the Israelis tell them, you all can have a state. You know what they're saying? We had a state. What do you mean? You can't let us have what's already ours. This land was ours for hundreds of years. This land was ours. So to say that that's why these people get pissed. Now, here's the biggest mistake I think the Israelis have made. They've not given these people any hope, anything to live for. And if you don't give people something to live for, they find something to die for. You can't kill people who are oppressed. You can't kill them. Because you have to kill the oppression. Killing the person doesn't kill the oppression. So the Israelis are in a trap, I think, because if they go in to Palestine and they think you're going to kill these people, you kill the oppression, you can't kill that. You have to stop it yourself. That's really, I think, the flaw in their response. Now, I think the Israelis are in a quandary here. Because, see, they make what we call micro infractions dealing with the Palestinians that cumulatively add up. They decide DJ Avalanche has been engaging in terrorist activities. So in the middle of the night, they come over into Palestine, they kidnap him, and they take him back to a prison in Israel. And then 4 or 5 months later, they come back. And guess what they look for now? They look for DJ Avalanche's brother. And they grab him. And they take him to a prison over in Palestine. See, people are not in Israel. So they have these microaggressions. So people look at this massive dynamic. I guarantee you, if you did a body count right now and say, how many Palestinians were killed in the last 10 years versus the number of Israelis, it's not even close. It's not even close. Now you got this interesting thing about the kidnappings. So I think the Israelis are in a very delicate situation because if you respond with force, you basically give these people what they wanted, a platform. Now, they've got hostages. It is pretty much a standard policy. Publicly, we don't negotiate with terrorists, but we always do negotiate with terrorists. And I think that this situation here is at a level where a major solution will come out of it, but it'll be very different than what we anticipate. Everybody has a good stuff. We're okay right now with the Israelis going in. But they've asked 1 million people or so to move out the way so they can go in to get these. Now, I don't know, maybe all the Hamas guys have a hat, like my USF hat. You could tell who they are, or maybe they wear a bandana or something. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to distinguish who's a terrorist, who's not, who's Hamas, who's not. So in the end, you're going to get civilians who are injured, and those civilians are going to end up bringing in people's outrage from a moral standpoint. The number of people who are going to die who have nothing to do with this conflict is going to leave a lot of blood on the Israelis' hands. And that, I think, is going to turn public opinion. Now, some people say, well, why did this happen right now? Well, it happened right now because the Israelis and the Saudi Arabia were in close negotiations to reach an agreement to normalize relations. This kind of sets everything back again. Why? The Saudis, they're Arabs. And when they watch and see the civilian carnage and death that's about to happen in Palestine, there's no way they can normalize relations. And so guess what? You're back to square one again. And Israel is, I think, is working into this mainly because they have their flexibility and knee-jerk reaction is one just to respond with violence. So anyway, we got a caller calling in. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, good attorney. This is Carl calling in.
Hey, good morning, Carl. How you doing? Listen, you called just as we were about to roll up on our a break, and I know you've got some great input that you want to share with our listeners and insight. So if you could for me, can you hold on for just a minute while we take a break, and we come back on the other side? I will give you as much time as is needed. All right. So we're gonna have Carl hold on. We're gonna take this break. Go to the other side. Also, if you're out there and you want to call in, the number is 813-444-9588. 813-444-9588. This is In Touch News Radio, reality radio. Everybody could be a star. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Radio, where you can listen to a cruising flow of smooth soul and jazz, today's R&B, a fun touch of hip-hop and gospel.
All my music on one station.
Giving you a buffet of music, news, and entertainment. We're In Touch Radio.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, push your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
Nestled in the heart of West Tampa, the Maduro Marauder Cigar Lounge offers a wide variety of premium cigars from Esteli, Nicaragua. In addition, the lounge offers a relaxed environment for you to come back, lay, chill, and relax and smoke a great cigar. Visit us at our brick and mortar location, 1944 West Main Street, Tampa, as well as online, www.maduromarauders.com.
Jazz at Miss Connie's house is brought to you by Ray Williams Funeral Home, providing the highest quality, professional, and caring service for your family. Call Jeffrey Rhodes at 813-253-3419. That's 813-253-3419. Or visit him at 301 North Howard Avenue, Tampa, Florida. Ray Williams Funeral Home, for the finest care and quality service.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, reality radio. Everybody could be a star. I got my main man, Carl the Truck, on the phone out of Atlanta. What's going on? What's on your mind this morning? I see you waited to the end of the show, and I mean, anyway, what's on your mind this morning, Carl?
Well, I want to thank the professor. He had a good commentary in there, but you know, with this disarray that got going on on the Republicans, Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, they could speak out on this and they can corral these guys in if they really wanted to.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
right. I mean, if they really want to, they could. But you know, what I'm saying, Mitch McConnell health is not the best, but his words do carry a lot of power. You know, his voice. But however, he just stay out of the press. So anyway,
So just my observation on that. And they just let these guys do whatever they want to. So, but and you gave a great commentary on Israel. Yeah, Israel just they just bowhog their way in there and just and it was given that land. So now and you're right. The same as you get people down in the ghettos. You put these people down in the ghettos, whatever, and they have no hope. They go into criminal activity because survival. They go to survival mode.
Yeah,
and whatever means necessary.
Well, I mean, think about it. We as soldiers, Carl, you were a soldier, if I recall correctly, for a very small amount of money. We sent, and you served over in Iraq, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, for a very small amount of money, very small, right? And your pride for your country, you went over to Iraq and put your life on the line. You accept that you may never see your family again or be the same person going over there. And you had not been oppressed. You see how easy it is to get people to buy into these battles from the oppressor standpoint? Because of you said, listen, you can be the revolutionaries that create what changes all of this forever. And that's a powerful thing for people to, those people are fighting for their absolute existence. And I don't know when it gets down to it, I don't know about you. I was never a big fighter growing up, right? Cause you punch people, right? But so when I got in the fight, you had to know that I was going to bite you. You might get scratched. I'm going to try to tear your shirt. I might pee on all of us. I'm just going to do all kind of nasty, ugly things that you will just hate this experience. Well, somebody else, they might just punch you in the mouth and knock you out. But I'm going to leave a scar, And so I'm just saying that when you get people who are desperate, they do anything. And so I'm trying to figure out, why would Israel just give such a knee-jerk, clearly Palestine expected that reaction from them. What else do you think Israel could do, though, if they didn't respond with force? What's their other option, though, really, in this situation?
Okay, right. Okay, well, Israel know that they have the support of the United States, so they're going to react to that. But the problem with this Hamas, they have no representative that really could negotiate. That really could,
stop right there for a minute. Stop right there for a minute. Do you know why they don't have that, Carl? They've been assassinated. They've been assassinated by the Israelis.
Right.
You follow me? You've kind of created this almost leaderless, fanatical situation.
Right.
By some of I get Israel's position is, listen, we're under attack. We're fighting for survival too. Right, but they've not understood how tied in, the dynamics. How is this going to spill into the presidential race, though? How is this going to be? I think it's a moment given to not Donald Trump, but to Joe Biden to show him being strong and in control. Would you agree with that?
Oh, most definitely, yes, because you have a lot of Israelis that lives up in New York, which is a Democratic state.
So I'm just thinking that right so far, what do you think about how President Biden has what do you think about his response so far?
Well, he's giving him support or whatever. He's going to give him the Biden support, and he's going to get him to go ahead and defend themselves by all means possible. So,
yeah,
what's going to look, what's going to look bad, for your little small Palestinian community that's here.
Outstanding, Carl. Appreciate you calling in, my brother.
And that's what you're getting.
Appreciate you calling in. Anything else on your mind before I get out of here?
Well, you got this is my favorite time of Saturday morning, man. Keep doing what you're doing. This is a great show.
Thank you very much, Carl, for listening. That's Carl the trucker, y'all, calling in. I didn't hear a horn or anything, so maybe he's in his He may be in his Camry today or Pontiac or something. I don't know. So anyway, appreciate Carl calling in. Appreciate Professor for calling in. Listen, y'all, I want you to have a great rest of your day. Get out, do something, but most of all, enjoy this wonderful time we have as we transition to fall. And one more time, go USF Bulls. See you back next week.
Every time. I've been waiting for the perfect opportunity to talk to you and say, even though we're together, I still lose my cool and then my words get in the way. Oh, I be stumbling over my feet. My heart just skips a beat, yeah. And I be mumbling over my word. Oh, I go crazy when I gotta get this game plan tight. Gotta make my next move right. Gotta do what I gotta do. I'm so into you, you got me open right now. I say cool, but inside I'm shaking. I'm talking every little step I'm taking. You're fine, we're fine, but in my mind, baby, I swear I refuse to get comfortable and lose the thing that made us fall in love. I think of the first time we met, girl, I'll never forget what I felt, yeah. I've been stumbling over my feet, yeah. My heart just skips a beat. I've been mumbling over my words. Oh, I'll go crazy when
Okay, one. Then comes the 2 to the 3 to the 4. When I'm around you, girl, I only want more. What we got is timeless. I put you on a plane and fly you to the islands. I'm like, hey, who got my heart for forever? It's you. Who held me down, made me better? It's you. Was slipping in my eyes, had me tripping. I was living like I didn't recognize. It's a privilege, but true. Love is hard to find in this day and time. People lying, don't nobody want me tied down. But you got me on a roast for it. It's a rap, so you know I probably wrote for it. Yeah, I'm old school like gazelles with the fat laces. I still believe the chivalry is that basic. I open up the door of my heart, let you in while my man Montel sing his part like.
I've been stumbling over my feet, yeah. My heart just skips a beat, yeah. I've been mumbling over my words, yeah. Hey, I go crazy when I'm around you. I stumble, fall over my feet. My heart just skips a beat. Mumble all over my words. Hey, I go crazy when I'm around you. When I'm around you. When I'm around you. When I'm around you. Yeah.
When it comes to reality radio, everyone is a star.
I know that's right.
On your smooth soul and R&B station. On the World Wide Web.
Access granted.
In Touch Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host, guests, and callers who are responsible for their content and do not reflect the opinions of In Touch Radio or its staff.